No, y'all never, he never did this. In this place, nuts, berries, and fruit. With love, nothing honey. Soup, okay, soup. Listen, and looking at what becomes spies. When you ask people, about the existence of it, they don't really have anything to say about it. All right. Da-da-da-da.
When the music is good, man, that's when the hood, what's on that? Oh, Morning. I hope y'all ready today. Line up. Welcome to another episode of Side Spot. I'm your host, as always, Caroline. In the background, you're listening to the title track to my album, Line Up. Life in the Sheep. Yeah, check this one out. Got a great show today. Cognitive bias. What is cognitive bias? But you know, cognitive begins here. I need my glasses. Dirty deeds, they do. Dirty deeds, they do. Dirty deeds, they do. Dirty deeds, they do. If you've never heard my music before, do yourself a favor. Check me out. I just released album number 5. You're listening to album number 4. Number 5 just dropped last week. Yeah. Again, y'all see it happening now. To the highest class. He's back. Self-professed. How about that? With the back man. Woo! I would love to sit here and let you listen to the whole track, but this is Line Up was my line dance mix album. So most of the songs on there are averaging about 9 minutes. Or this particular song is 10 minutes and 8 seconds. So if you've never heard my music before, make sure you go check me out. Severe Aline, right? Uh, I just released album number 5. The title of that album is God's in a Man's World. You just got finished listening to Line Up from my 4th album, and everything that you hear in there, it's taking place right here, right now. You see it before your very eyes. All of my music It's messaged on the very things that you encounter every day, that you encounter every day, the things that you are missing that are taking place, the things that you're not paying attention to, you'll find in my music, guaranteed. You'll find it in my book, Code Black, which was self-published, right? Self-authored in 2013. Code Black deals with all the conflicts, controversy, and conditions that remove the black father from the family. You need it's $5 on Amazon, right? If you've never tuned into any of my shows, Sci-Fi, which is the show you're watching now, comes to you Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Every Sunday, I do my show, Daddy's Right Here Live, which is a part of Daddy's Right Here Inc., a nonprofit family services organization that seeks to keep the father, right? So that show focuses on some of the similar things that you'll find in Sunspot, but most of it has to do with rebuilding, building the relationship between fathers and the mothers of their children and for the children, right? Because we know what that looks like today, that the family is so splintered for a variety of reasons, and people are not putting forth enough effort to fix those relationships because it's about the child. It's not about the failed relationship with us, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife, whatever we were to one another. It's about the child. The child should be free from our wrath, and we keep fighting our battle on their back. So that's what Daddy's Right Here focuses on. And again, tune in to Daddy's Right Here Live every Sunday at 10 o'clock. Right? I've been doing this since 2007. So if you've never seen any of these shows, go to my Sabir Aline station, educational station on YouTube. Right? So right now I'm live on TikTok as well as my TikTok, my TikTok, my YouTube station. So anytime you miss one of the shows, you can always go to my Sabir Aline educational station on YouTube and catch up. There's about a little over 600, I think. I'm at the 600 mark now for videos. I've been doing this since 2007. The music thing I just started doing in what, 4 years now. So I have 5 albums out, and about 17 singles outside of the album. Um, so I'm on a little sabbatical since that drop. I'll let that, marinate for a minute and move forward with the other endeavors, such as AleneForYou.net. AleneForYou.net, merchandise behind it. Yeah, all this merchandise. That up there is one of my drawings. You can find this in some of the merchandise that'll be in my Audacity collection. We have tumblers behind me, which you won't find anywhere ever, right? Anywhere. I don't do AI generated stuff. None of our stuff is AI generated. Everything we do from it's thought out, it's designed, it's created, right? So we have it on different things, shirts, mugs, pants, umbrellas, underwear, pajamas. What else? What else? We got shoes, sneakers, we got boots. All of it is all designed by us. Yeah. So that's leanforyou.net. Yesterday we talked about cognitive distortions, and we talked about the thinking patterns that are in our way. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, it doesn't matter. It keeps rearing its ugly head, right? It continues to rear its ugly head in so many situations. Some of it is very subtle, and some of it is very aggressive. A cognitive distortion, right? Impedes ability, our ability to engage the world around us in a positive manner or a consistent basis. The more the cognitive distortions get in the way and go unresolved and go unaddressed, the more we find ourselves at odds with other people. The more we address these things by using skill of uh, analyzing the situation and not the person, because you have to analyze what just happened. And yesterday, I used the example. What did I use? I forget so much. But a simple example is you're standing. Oh, that's what it was. You're standing in line. You're at the store, at the market. You're standing in line. You got three people in front of you. The three people in front of you were greeted by the cashier, right? Cashier said good morning to each one of these persons. Right now, you assume all this happened. So when you finally get up there and it's your turn, the cashier doesn't greet you. The cashier doesn't say good morning to you, right? So automatically you go from 0 to 100 with your perception. Now remember, I said some of it shows up to be subtle and some of it can be aggressive. Well, in this moment, you can feel it because you just saw three people get greeted and you didn't get greeted. And you're in your feelings about, well, wait a minute, you just spoke to them. I get up here, you don't say anything to me. You, matter of fact, you fall short of growling and hissing at me. This is my perception because you start thinking, your head starts rolling because now you are trying to project, you are trying to be a mind reader at this time, you are doing a whole lot of things, all in a matter of seconds. It's happening. And you're not even paying attention. This is how fast you can find yourself in a place you don't want to be. You're standing up in your head like, well, why did this woman not say a damn thing to me? Three people in front of you, right? So you're making all kinds of judgments about this cashier, right? You know the usual thing. She's racist, right? She must got some kind of personal issue with people who look like me. Not even dealing with me, the way I'm dressed. You know, I can be part of the LGBTQ community, right? It's a whole lot of things going on that that you have in thought of in your mind about what's happening with this person. If you're black and the three customers were white, what do you think about that? Right? And vice versa in color, right? If you're white and they're black, it's a whole lot of things that happen. They're happening just like this, all in a matter of flash, a millisecond. They're happening. And then you come out of your mouth and you say something to that cashier for not acknowledging you in the same way as she did to others. You have no idea what's going on with that person. You have no idea, but your values and your beliefs has sent a message to your brain, right? Your brain is locked into your mind. So there's some unresolved, right, that you have. There's some bias that you have. There's some distortions in your thinking, right, that are going to drive what comes out of your mouth. Yeah. It begins with your thinking. So the subtle part is, good morning. How are you? I'm okay. That's the subtle part. This is what you say to the cashier who didn't speak to you, but spoke to the other people. Good morning. I'm fine. How are you? Now you want to be arrogant, right? You and your feelings about something because they didn't acknowledge you in the same capacity. You don't even really care about the fact of whether they spoke to you or not. But the fact that you spoke to them three and not me is now my issue. I'm not recognizing it as being my issue because it's not the cashier's issue because they're moving on. You are the one with the waste. You're the one standing there all up in your feelings and everything like that. So the subtle part is Good morning. How are you? I'm fine. Right? The aggressive part is, oh, excuse me. Why is it you didn't speak to me, but you spoke to them other three, but you didn't speak to me? Like you got a problem with me or something? Matter of fact, I don't even want this stuff. That's the aggressive part. How many times do you do that through the course of your day? Think about it for me. Think about when you're engaging anyone. Why would you be subtle on one end, right? With your wife. Your wife comes down the steps, you know, she's in one of her spaces where she has the right to be. You're sitting on the chair. She comes down, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning. You've been already down here having your coffee. You come down. No good morning. You come on down the steps, walk on past people, get what you do, on her way back up. Yo, what's up? Right? That's the subtle end, right? For you. But that shouldn't be the subtle end, right? The aggressive end is, well, damn, I know we slept together last night, but you couldn't come down. I want you to start looking at how you react to people around you. And you're going to start taking a look at why. Because there's a core to this behavior that has to change. People have the right to be who they are. They have the right to act any way they want to act. You don't have any control over it. But ask yourself, why do you always try to control it? And it all has to do with your belief system. It all has to do with how you see the world, how you see the world around you. Like you're in charge of everybody. You can't even control closing your mouth right now because you feel compelled, for whatever reason, to say something to this person because they didn't speak to you. What does it matter? What does it really matter? Does it really matter who sits in the White House? Think about it. You've been around for a minute. You've seen a few elections. You've seen a few presidents. Anybody consult with you about anything? Anybody come and ask you how you feel about any of this stuff? No, but you have to wake up every day and you have to deal with it just the way it is. So why you put so much energy into falling prey to the narratives of other people? It's like nobody said anything about Donald Trump being racist until Donald Trump threw his hat into the ring for the presidency. I can say I support him and don't support him. Ain't none of your business who I vote for, because that's not the point. The point is, Donald Trump's been around for a long time. I'm from Philly. I encountered Trumpism a long time ago when they first started building casinos in Atlantic City. Yeah, when he first started building casinos in Atlantic City, right? When he encountered one person who did not want to move when they started building casinos, she refused to leave. She refused to leave, right? And she became the only. I don't know if it's still there or not. They built all around her. I remember when his hotel, where he said that he didn't want to have blacks living in his housing, whatever housing he put in place. Is that racist? If a black man said it, would that be racist? How many times do you, as a black person, say, "I don't want these Negroes living up in here. This is what they do. That's why we can't have anything." How many times have you said that yourself? Think about it. How many times are you saying that now? This used to be a nice neighborhood until them Negroes start rolling up in here. You say it yourself. How often do we say we tired of these Negroes? How often do we say it? I'm not ready to that again. Nah. But as soon as somebody white says it, they're racist. Because nobody said anything about Donald Trump back in the day, when he was building casinos, until there was a couple of things that came out that he wouldn't rent to black people. So what? That make him racist? I bet you his properties lasted a whole lot longer. That's the reality. That's the reality. Even the projects changed how they restructured and remodeled the project. They took all the grass away. They removed all of those bars that we used to walk on. You know, we used to have those challenges. Kids, you could walk on the bar. You know what I'm saying? The longest we used to have fun. That we had grass and all that. That's what I grew up at. Look at the projects when they rebuilt them. You know why they did it that way? Huh? No, you don't want to have that conversation. We tore shit up. Period. That's why it's no grass out there. That's why they put few trees out there. It's just landscaping. It just looks nice. It's not for beautification because how do we keep anything beautiful? But if somebody white says the same thing that I'm saying, they're racist. They're racist, right? And then we just flip it back again, right? To all of the terms that we use, you're going to tell somebody else that they can't use the same term, but you put out music that's laden with all of that, that's supposed to be hip, fly, and cool, but all of a sudden it comes from somebody white. And do you even hear yourself saying that? I was at the tattoo shop, sometime getting a tattoo, and it was the owner who's white, his other artist who's white, and it was a customer in there who's white. And they was in there rocking the music, playing the music, right? You know, all the N-words popping out, popping, they doing the music. You know, nobody was singing all, singing them words. And I said, listen, I'm not one of them dudes. Sing the damn song. I'm not bothered by it. It's the song. You're singing the song. I'm not bothered by it at all. It feels different for some when somebody who don't look like them uses the N word, right? It feels different. It's just like I've worked in prisons for years. For 30 years, I've been some part and worked some capacity in prison, right? And it's like I had to ask the question, and I ask it often. Somebody give me the definition of Indian. Give me the definition of Indian, right? 85% of the time, maybe, but I'm gonna give 85% of the time, nobody got it right. Nobody got it right. Go look the word up yourself now while I'm talking. Nobody got it right because everybody runs with a perception of a person who is in a particular condition and the reference being made to them and how they find it to be so offensive until they reach the definition. An inmate is a house guest. A guest. You're a guest in a correctional institution. You are a ward of the state. That's why you have a warden. The warden is responsible for the house guests. Didn't know that, did you? It's okay to say you just learned. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay if you didn't know. There are a lot of people who don't know that there's a difference between the nation of Islam and the religion of Al Islam as practiced outside of the construct of the nation. Other than almost under Minister Farrakhan. What you ride with, you regurgitate what other people tell you, and that becomes your belief without evidence, only that what somebody said. Regardless of how the information comes to you, you establish your belief on, so it on Facebook. Nah, and you run with it. And that becomes your foundation of living. That becomes your foundation of living. You ride on what, and we have all done it. We're all guilty of it. But what happens is that also establishes biases. Biases. And you're biased via somebody else's condition. Race is the obvious one, right? Race is the obvious one. But it's the biggest one that, if resolved, would put to end a whole lot of what goes on in this world. And if you're paying attention, there's been a shift in relationship between blacks and whites. It's been a change, it's been a shift. And there's no longer this level of complicity, complicitness, whatever word you want. The level of complicitness has changed. The level of implicitness has changed, which also means that came along with that a shift in uh, how people go about soliciting information. Because you can't just sit there and say that if you don't know. This ain't even some bullshit. This is like some reality stuff. You know, that you start seeing, like they came up with this term black fatigue. Well, I've been fatigued for a long time with nonsense. I'm sick of hearing you are defending of slaves. No, the hell I'm not. You don't know that. Stop telling people that you're descendants of slaves. You don't have any evidence to support that. And whoever told you, right, when you spent all that money for them to give you this whole, you paid somebody to tell you where you're from, and you believe them because they told you that. So let me get this right. Don't this sound like I'm watching social media and that's how I'm learning about black people? That's how I'm learning about white people. That's how I'm learning about the Muslims. That's how I'm learning about the evangelicals, the Jews, the Christians. That's how I'm learning all this information. I don't study none of that. But they said it on there. It's got to be true. Just think about it. You have no clue. And you live in this life, this knowledgeable life that you've done this. But now you hate this people. You hate that group. And you don't even know these people. And even if you did know these people, right, you don't know that person. Everybody carries uh, their belief system different. Everybody's Christian. but yet they all have a sect, right? All these Muslims, but they all have a sect, right? And so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, right? But you're all Christian, you're all Muslim, you're all Jews, you're all Catholic, but y'all all do something different. And y'all beat up on each other for doing something different because, but it still comes, I thought it still went back to Jesus. But it don't go back to Jesus, but it does, regardless of what it is you practice of the name one, but we still go with each other. We just sat in the same pew together and got outside and argued and debated about what the pastor said. So now I'm not going there no more because you challenged the pastor, and I don't feel like that was right. So now you don't go anymore because your belief system is that strong on something that you got from somebody else, but you haven't researched it, studied it to see the validity of what the person said. It's been about 5 years now since I uh, abandoned religious practice. Practicing Muslim since 1988, studied Bible, Torah, Old Testament, New Testament, studied them all, made comparisons, right? Found the similarities, came to understand, and then came away with a whole lot of questions still, because things just didn't happen, and they still don't. So that was my choice, right? My wife is a practicing Christian, right? We have conversations. I'm not trying to change her. Do you think I could? Right? Oh, I can certainly go all in and listen, that's my wife. First of all, my wife needs to know how I think. I need to know how she thinks. So when things go left, we know where to go to get it right. That's the only important thing. Where do you go when this thing goes left? You go to God? Absolutely. You go to Jesus? I'm with that. I understand. Good. Because I don't want you going to your mama, your girlfriend, your homies, your road dogs, none of that. Because they ain't gonna help you fix it. What they're gonna do is interject their own bias, and we're gonna really know, understand. So there are 12 types of cognitive biases that influence your thinking, according to this article from the website Very Well Mind. The article is by Kendra Cherry. The article was reviewed by Amy Moore. So Kendra is a MS of education, and Amy is a licensed clinical social. So, right, and I'm a certified addiction professional, right? Also, a certified alcohol and drug counselor, right? Both of my credentials are currently inactive because I'm retired. I'm retired, but in 30 years, I'm retired. You know what? I'm still doing the work. So there's 12 types of cognitive biases they talk about, right? So let's go to the article. The first one that they talk about here is the confirmation bias. The confirmation bias is the tendency to listen more often to information that confirms our existing beliefs. Through this bias, people tend to favor information that reinforces the things they already think or believe, right? This is what a confirmation bias is. So that means that you are only going to put yourself around people with regularity who believe what you do. It's almost like the equally yoked phrase that's used in Christianity, right? So you're only going to be around those people who they say equally yoked. You're only going to be around people who are living this particular lifestyle. If you don't get high, when you get high, who are you around? Let me help you out a little bit. If you get high, you go twist one up. Do you sit around anybody and do it? Could be cowards like that. I mean, let's be real. Do you sit around the auntie and smoke your weed? If the auntie ain't with that, you sit around grandma and just smoke your weed, right? So certain people you're gonna sit around and smoke your weed. There's certain people who you're going to sit around and smoke, right? Like you mentioned this, I want you to stay with this narrative because you're not going to be around other people. You ain't sitting around a bunch of people in the hit house, right? Because that ain't your thing. And a matter of fact, for the weed smokers have a whole different outlook of those sitting there snorting and or smoking cocaine. Alcoholics have a whole different perspective of people who use heroin and those other drugs. You can't even go into the meeting and talk about them. They don't want to hear about none of that. You need to go to one of the other meetings. You need to sit down and shut up, right? I want you to understand. So when you talk about religion, religion is the same way. It's the same way. Oh, you one of them Muslims. What does that mean? What does that mean? You one of them Muslims. Do you know what a Muslim is? See the subtlety in my response? Do you know what a Muslim is? You ain't one of Muslims, right? Muslim. The word is pronounced Muslim. Some say Muslim. Okay? It ain't Muslim. It ain't Muslim, right? Muslim. You put respect on it. Because when somebody says Christian or they say Catholic, you want to put respect on it. Because that's what your belief. That's what you believe. It's grounded in. No matter if I practice a religion or not, it doesn't matter. I will always consider myself Muslim because Muslim is one who submits to the will of God. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So if I said to you as a non-Muslim, we're all Muslims, you'll stand or no, I'm Christian. I'm about Jesus. Well, a Muslim is about Jesus too. Did you know that? Did you know that it's more written about Jesus in the Quran than it is in any Christian Bible? Did you know that? No, you didn't know that either, right? Another bias. Another bias. People see the Muslim, they want to try to tell the Muslim about this. Like, we don't know. There's a whole stir on marriage. But again, biases, constant bias. So when people don't want to hear what you have to say, they're gonna get away from you. As much as you try to tell people, today, right, that the truth that we have been living by, even history, we want to still solidify Black history that's wrong in education. It's easier to complain. Oh, they trying to erase history. Well, how are you going to erase something that was already there? Right? You can't erase something that you're part of its existence if that's what it is. But then in the same sense, you complain about the fact that that's not Black history. So what is it? What is it? Which one is it? Critical race theory? Why? Why? Why does it have to be part of education at all? Because if you lived in a country where others were 13% of its population, what do you think that you would find in this world? See, that's what I mean about thinking, right? because people continue to respond back with something that they're regurgitating that somebody else gave them. It doesn't make sense though. Make sense out of it. Blacks complain about what Black history is taught, right? In standard education. And then when it's removed, complain that it's being taken out because they want to erase Black history. But you didn't like it anyway because you said it really wasn't our history. Where's the what? Where you want? Put it back or take it out, right? Would you want to have sex that way? But anyway, it's a matter of like, you keep on and you leave it in that capacity because that's what you want to continue to believe. It's either some watching the show or who will watch the show and beg to differ about and beg to differ about it. They're telling it from their perspective. But you believe in a religion that's being told from somebody else's perspective. Were you there? No, you weren't there. So how do you know? Somebody else is telling the story. When you read, it's like they were there. Well, you had a nephew and a niece. Where's the nieces and nephews? Right? How come none of these people had lineage? Come on. I'm just saying. So you're only going to be around the people who you feel believe what you do. And then what happens is when somebody comes along that has information other than what you, right, and share it in your presence, you're arguing. Let me tell you how your argument goes. Your argument is a regurgitation of what you learned in social media or what so and so told you, right? And then when it gets to a certain point that you can no longer regurgitate, because when you regurgitate something and you question on it, right? Then it turns into a fight and an argument because you can't adequately answer it. It's easy to say, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. But when you get to the point of not being able to provide an explanation for what it is that you said, your next thing, and this is a human response, right? When you don't have the ability to articulate something, you want to argue now. You want to turn it into an argument. And it always turns into an argument because then somebody want to say something silly, right? Instead of looking at the possibility of like all of these years later, we're really just beginning to focus on how the hell was this person the first man on the moon, but there was also somebody there that took the picture. Now we're starting to take a more in-depth look at it. But when it happened, nobody had nothing to say to it. When it came out, the question is, oh, that's a conspiracy. That's stupid. But then it makes sense. It makes sense. How the hell is that the first man to land on the moon? To walk on the moon? Photographer in the ship. But that was the first moon landing. No credit. Come on, man. It's stuff like that that people try to tell us. And that's why so many of us are at odds. Who came up with we're no longer like we're Afro American. Who came up with that? Did you get a memo on that? I didn't get a memo. Did you sign off when the vote came? Did you say, well, what you want to be called? No. Just think about it for a minute. Just think about all the things that you've been told and how you question none of them. You're not questioning any of it because you keep yourself with the same thinking. You keep yourself around the same people to talk the same way. That's why we can't get any resolve, especially in the Black community. We can't get any resolve because we're still arguing over: Are you Black? Are you African American? Are you Afro American? Are you this? Are you that? I am an American who has been labeled as being Black. When I see pictures, right? A grand, great grand. I see the statuesque, pronounced nose, straight hair of the Aboriginal people. But you want to tell me about African American. So we're going to argue about this because I'm a dumb Negro. I'm stupid, right? Because so and so told you, because you read it in this book, so what you learned is right. It makes sense to you. That makes so much sense. I, uh, examples include, they give some other examples, only paying attention to information and conclusions, only following people on social media, right? Choosing news sources that present stories that support your views, refusing to listen to the opposite side, and not considering all of the facts in a logical and rational manner. A logical and rational manner. That's what I'm saying. When you can no longer defend what someone else is regurgitating, that you're regurgitating from them, it gets irrational. It becomes irrational. It's no longer a rational response. It's going to be able to give. It's no longer civility. And then the sad part about that is you stay with that mode. You stay with that same energy because I disagree with it. So now you don't like me, like I'm supposed to give a shit. Right? But I'm just saying that's what we do. Ultimately, you stop, your interaction with that person because they disagree with the belief that you have. I have the right to, right? That's like so many black communities that brought into the criminal codes of no snitching. This, that, the other, that allowed the criminal element to just run the damn street. No, Negro. Street life doesn't make this your street, right? That's what you use as a title for what it is that you support. I'm from 44th. I'm from Third and Diamond. I'm from here and from there. What? So you rep that street in name. If you truly rep that street should be safe. It should be protected. You don't sit and eat at the same place. That's why you don't sit. What people are doing, right? So it then says here, refusing to listen to the opposing side. When it comes to politics, you got to ask yourself, as a black person, that probably cut me off. As a person of color, how many other stations do you listen to other than black radio stations, other than Mexican radio stations, other than Latino radio stations? How many other stations do you listen to, right? As a Democrat, how many Republican stations do you listen to, and vice versa? That's why you have no idea what's going on, right? Because you'd rather regurgitate what somebody else is saying than look at yourself. You look at yourself. I listen to everybody. I want to know what's going on. Because see, when you keep your enemies close and you keep your true enemies closer, you find out who the real enemy is. Make sense out of that. Make sense out of that. Right? Throughout all of the presidential campaign, I listened to a lot from J. You'll see clips of you'll see clips that stay with the narrative of what people want you to believe, to move you towards the other side, to move you away from this. But if you're a rational thinking person and you sit down and you listen to black politicians, a lot of black politicians,
most black politicians, and you listen to white politicians, you listen to Democrats, you listen to Republicans, listen to the language being used, and you tell me who's focused on being American and who's focused on being un-American, who's focusing on the solution and who's focusing on the problem. You tell me. Do it for yourself. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Do it for yourself. Find a Republican to follow right now in your feed, in your TikTok feed. Find the Republican. Matter of fact, find two. Find two noteworthy people, right? Find two noteworthy people. You can put Vance in there. And somebody else whose name is familiar with you. And listen to the messages. Listen to the messages. That's part of the shift that's happening that I was talking about earlier in the show. That's part of the shift that's happening. People are beginning to look in a different direction. We still talking about people, and there's nobody who has emerged with knowledge that is relevant to forward progress for blacks. Minister Farrakhan has been consistent. He's not even in that discussion. But when you talk about a think tank of forward progress, who comes to mind? Amongst noteworthy, so-called noteworthy black leadership, who stands out? Because I'm not talking about the person who's standing up and, always, shows up, for those prime time moments, right? I'm talking about people who are actually making stuff happen, right? 30 years I've been in the field, right? I have yet to see anything for reentry that stands out in any state, in any city, right? That has become the blueprint for reentry services in anywhere. You get all these people who keep getting this money, right, from the state, from the federal government for reentry services. And they have failed immensely. But they keep getting money. Because the state or the government says, oh, well, we have to, this is what we have to do. And we need to make sure that, even though I'm giving the same damn people the money, they failed for the first 3 years of the contract, right? And they got it again because I come along, I ain't never had no grant funding in that amount. So y'all ain't going to give it to me because I never handled that. Only thing I've ever had was the $10,000 block grant. So we're not going to give you $100,000. Oh, no, we're going to give it back to Jack and them because they applied. Oh, yeah, they gave some crappy, shady services. Yeah, they did some unethical stuff. Yeah, but listen, we can't give it to you. That's stupid. That's a cognitive bias. That is a cognitive bias in the practice of business. There's a whole lot of it that continues to go on in terms of funding nonprofit businesses who fail, but they keep getting the money because, the policy is, you can't get it because, yeah. So the money that Daddy's right here, and I'm going to that, my nonprofit, Daddy's right here, the money that we could have in the state of Florida, we could blow up. For some of the money that these people are giving, right? We have access, right? I've been in the institutions. I have relationships with people. I know how to establish relationships with people. Daddy's right here can outperform every organization that says that they provide fatherhood services. I guarantee that. Because I am passionately involved in my nonprofit. There's no funding. Every year I send my 990. Right? I'm passionate about it. I know what I'm doing. I know I'm great at what I do. I'm great at what I do. I don't need anybody to tell me that. I'm great at what I do. I'm great at it. I'll never see it. I'll never see it. That's fine. I'm still being a good servant right here where I'm at. This is my platform. This is where I do my messaging. This is my ministry. Welcome. Listen, we at the hour, right? Uh, don't stop and don't let anyone stop you, right? Don't let anybody stop you, man. And whatever it is you achieve to do, that you desire to do. But just know this: you are your brand. You build your brand by being visible, by being humble, by being available, by being yourself. A lean for you is just that, right? My wife and I represent a lean for you. Plain and simple. Family oriented. We're about our family, right? We're about doing the right thing. We're about being good servants to the Creator, right? We invest time, energy, and effort into becoming better today than we were yesterday as individuals, as parents, as a man, as a woman, as a husband, as a wife. That's our focus. When you shop at aleanforyou.net, that's what you're shopping for. That's what you're shopping with, right? We care about what we do, right? Hold on a second. They get ready to give me this, put this little piece in the puzzle thing. If you've been on for a while, okay, I got it the first time. But what I'm saying to you is, me, I'm real. The way you see me here is the same way you see me out in the street. I'm the same. I'm just as engaging in the street, right? It is what it is. What's up? What you want to do? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I talk to everybody. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Don't lose energy and enthusiasm because you're not where you want to be. You are where you are. That's what you have to say. This whole music thing, this whole podcasting thing, millions of people do it because you enjoy it. If it be, if it be for you outside of that, yeah. But right now, it is for you. Right in this moment. Don't worry about what you want and what may happen. Maybe it ain't supposed to. Maybe you're supposed to go like this. I've been doing this since 2007. Yeah. My subscription, a little over 1,000. This is not interesting to a lot of people. So for those of you who have tuned in, for those of you, even if you stop it, say, hey, I appreciate it. Go to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You can be doing anything else from 10 to 11, here you are. And I appreciate it. And I keep showing up. I had an appointment for this morning. They messed around with approval, all this other kind of stuff. And I got to keep going, right? I got to keep going. Just have to reschedule because that stuff is done. I'm here. If I can't be here, I try to tell you I can't be here, and I get here, and I send you a message say, hey, don't waste your energy, man, on wasting, right? I started up this e-commerce stuff. I have no idea about e-commerce. I've been learning this a whole lot, right? I produce, write, perform all of my own music, basic, master, I do all that myself. I'm not waiting for anybody anymore. People victimize you real quick, man. It's unfortunate. Now I have to say it. They will take everything. They'll take the shabbiest of what you got paid for,
right? I learned all this stuff myself. I read, I research, I watch YouTube, I watch YouTube, all stuff on YouTube. Thank you. Do what you gotta do, man. I just put out my fifth album, all produced right here in my crib, in my lab, with my laptop, with my knowledge. Small investment. I can sit here and I can record my own music, make my own music. All my beats, everything is done by me. I didn't know how to do none of that stuff. Man. I've been around it, you know. I've been around live stage performance, stage lighting, soundboard, mixing things up, travel, around with some group, did promotions and stuff like that, public relation promotions for entertainment productions. If anybody back in the 80s, and that's I'm gonna go ahead and heard a poem. So you gotta be like present for cues when they come. All he heard was a poem, and he said it sounded like a song. That was like a cue. I went all in. Here I am. 5 years later, album. This and matter of fact, this will be lined up with the fourth album, God in the Man of the World, the fifth album, in the 12th. That's 2 albums, over 8 songs. Right? I'm a grinder. I get in and I grind. I do. If I had a contract, right, I'm outperforming people who didn't get the paper. So they get boom, they get burned. But don't let anybody stand in the way. Right? Don't self-publish a book. I just wrote what I want to write. Send it, to another reader that check it out. Same thing I did with my career. When I did my thesis. I wanted to send it to my professor, but she was tired of it enough. So somebody else had another read it. Put in a whole bunch of hours, a couple of chapters. It's been sitting in Amazon for forever. The comic was black. What do you mean? You think a child is a legacy? What if you give me a child? When you're gone, what does the child have to reflect back? Say, this is what my dad. This is what he did when those times were like the time I was you got these problems, right? You got to nurture that within them. Not just that's your seed, but you got to do some work. A lot of people want to come turn around and take credit, and there's been no involvement, right? That's it. But what do you have, regardless of the relationship? What do you have to give to them? What do you have to take carry from them? What do you have? Right? That's what you got to go about. Right? You got to get out of your head. Right? I've been doing it 30 years. I know that's why I continue to do shows. Each time I do the show, I'm doing the show for an art. I'm doing the research when I do the show. I don't read these articles in detail. I like to talk. It's something that's on my field. We talk about it, right? I give you my clinical. I give you my personal expertise. I give you my academics, right? I give you the information. People give you information all the time. But if you don't use it, that can help you become a better person. That's not all I did. I didn't say that. I gave you it. You didn't understand the information. That's me the title of the article. That's why I gave you the title of the article and the author. The author. And the source. Psychology. 99% of the time, I'm going to say I like to live well. They have some nice stuff in there, that I've read, and I think I've done a couple shows using some of their content. But I can sit here and do shows without having any of that. But I'm I'm still learning. I'm still saturating myself. So when I have those moments, when I before, you know, caretakers, stakeholders, individuals who need that service, I'm going all in. If you've never seen me go all in at a workshop or conference, so not go all in. I hope information was something that you know grasp and try to keep it basic and not go all the way. Right, the condition because there's a lot of stuff out there. Man, you just don't realize how people find themselves in certain situations. They'll put it out there because how many people actually spend their day with themselves? How many people really spend their day when things happen figuring out, yo, how many times do you beat yourself up for like, not a lot of step? Again, like, it's always worth to be done. I'm trying to go on, but I'm still looking for myself, still working for myself, right? That's the only thing I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting. I'm only suggesting that you tune in, open minded, and look at some things that I'm talking about. Everything does you, but it may apply to the situation that you're and you make me become somebody else. But don't make so much of your focus on somebody else. Make it like in your relationship. And the 20% of the other person are just things that are relevant to the betterment or lack thereof of the relationship. That's all you focus on. You're in a relationship with somebody else. Stuff gonna keep happening because they're two different people. But why don't you let this go? Why are you holding on to this? Why do you have such a strong issue about this? Is it really relevant to you? It's a bias that you need to work. I'm your host, as always, Girling. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. I can't say it enough. There's so many other things you could be doing this morning. But here you are. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock for another episode of South Spot. In the background, yeah, Electrical, the dance mix version of my song. This was my second release. Thank you. Woo! The beer, Eileen, look it up. Find my music. Good. I can't play all this just in 10 minutes. But you can go find your favorite music streaming platform right now and type in Severe Link. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, iTunes, everywhere. Thank you, Distort. Y'all have a good day. Y'all mind.